And I could do it in a sarcastic way where they knew they couldn't mess with me because I'd beat them up. You know, not that we're physically fighting our clients.
Right.
You know, it's not a good idea. But
not a good idea. Didn't say that should happen. It's just probably not a good idea.
Welcome to Behind the Knowledge, a best hour podcast where we dive deep into the lives and stories of inspiring coaches from all walks of life. The two hosts of this show are me, Pat Barber, and my good friend and fellow coach, Todd Akuto. Each week, we'll sit down with the most amazing coaches we can find, uncovering their unique paths, the challenges they've faced, and passions that continue to drive them. Whether you're a seasoned coach, an aspiring one, or simply somebody who likes listening to stories of how people achieve the success that they have, this podcast is for you. So sit back, relax, and get ready to be inspired by the powerful stories and insights from the world of coaching. This is Behind the Knowledge. Let's jump in.
So we are back on Behind the Knowledge. Pat in the house. Mr. Andrew Charlesworth.
Terrible.
Charlesworth.
Yeah, it's the easiest last name on the world. It's Charlesworth.
Yeah.
Charles, what are you worth?
Sounds like he has like a warehouse full of money. Good old Charlesworth.
That's how we'll start the podcast.
There we go. Let's talk
lean
money.
right into it.
No money, just Dogecoin, right?
Yeah. No,
Dogecoin.
Do you have Doge?
No, absolutely not. That's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, totally. I don't have any Shiba Inu either.
Yeah.
Yes, you do. You just
Shut
look
up.
like a Shiba Inu
No, whatever.
guy.
You look like a Shiba Inu guy. All right, we're not going to talk about crypto. Let's talk
Not
about
yet.
who you are, because the point of this show is to get the backstory of you as a coach. Like, what's your origin story? How'd you get to where you are now? Mm-hmm. And like, what are all the steps along the way? And you have to say it in the funniest way you can think of. No, don't. Let's start back at the beginning. Where'd you first start coaching?
That'll work.
Coaching
Anything.
functional fitness,
No.
aka CrossFit?
No.
Anything.
Okay, or just coaching.
Why
like,
would
where
you
are we
phrase
talking?
it as functional fitness, aka CrossFit?
Because you said you want to be as funny as possible. All right, let's go back to the origin.
that was pretty funny.
You've got a background in basketball.
I do have a background in basketball.
What
so
did you start coaching basketball? Or
100%.
Did you start, all right.
100%. I coached. Man, I feel so old now because you coach those young kids. I grew up coaching in the Flint area, so basketball is the only thing that was pushed to play, oddly enough. I also grew up hanging out with Mark Ingram, so he ended up being pretty damn good at football.
I don't know who that is.
Oh my gosh,
Pat has
Pat.
no
Oh my
idea who that is.
But I'm sure he's great. Like,
Okay,
I'm sure he's
anyway,
great.
Anyway,
Is it a foosball kicker?
yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't just look him up.
Okay, I will.
Heisman, but
The Heisman, is that a college award or is that a professional award?
College award.
Okay, all right. So you guys celebrate people in college for like these sports?
yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
not even the
Sports-
professionals. It's just
sports
like
are a big deal. Yep,
They're
even in
pretty
college.
big deal.
Like,
the NIL is a big deal.
And people care about those things.
They do.
Oh,
They
that's
do.
cool. All right. Well, all right. I'm glad you guys are here.
Okay.
Keep going.
So, coaching little kids, basketball. I mean, anywhere from 5 to 8.
How old were you at the time?
I was probably 14, 15.
How did you get involved in that? I mean, obviously you were playing basketball, but like somebody come up to you and ask you if you want to coach. Was this a...
That's just what you got paid. They were like, "Hey, I'll pay you $20 to run a camp for 8 hours in a day." And
That's
you're
your,
like, "That's a
probably
big
your
deal."
high school coach. Is that right?
Yeah,
Your high
yeah.
school coach asked you to do that?
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, but I would say that, and then let's move on to coaching humans on working out.
Well, no, I'm actually curious. Like,
Okay.
so what does coaching mean to you as like a basketball coach? Because, you know, coaching in CrossFit is so much about movement and then connecting with the people. When you first start and you're 15, you're probably not coaching much movement. It's more like the positions of the game and the, hey, scramble over here, do the thing. What does that look like at 15?
Well, it's gonna be hard for me and you to talk about this.
Scramble.
Yeah, because that's like too deep of a meaning. What is coaching? Because I bring that to fatherhood. I bring that to community. I bring that to my aura, right? Because if you're going to ask that, you're going to have to go deep into
Let's
the
go
rabbit
deep.
hole.
Let's
Let's go deep. That's where we're headed.
Well,
let's start deep.
Well, coaching,
and then we'll pull out.
Coaching to me.
You're on the edge over here. Just
What are you
chill
talking
out.
about? You guys are sick. I'm saying the right things.
You are saying the right things. You definitely don't. Me and you both don't. That's why we have 19,000 kids. Anyway, I think like I had an unhealthy obsession with athletics and coaching, and I've even done therapy posts in my life and found out like, wow, that was probably some bad stuff where my brain went to how bad I want to be the greatest. Like I grew up with the Michael Jordans on my bedspread, et cetera, and like when you don't have an outlet for someone to respect when you lose or teach you how to lose or teach you that, you know, effort matters more a lot of times than outcome, but it's okay to want to dominate.
Right.
And so balancing all that together, like one of my favorite people to listen to right now is John Brown. It's called John Brown, not our John Brown, but he has 2 sons in the NFL.
Yeah.
And he talks about how he coached his kids and how, there weren't a lot of opportunities that they took days off, and he doesn't feel sorry about it, but also he was a very, very good father to them during that whole time. So coaching to me really went into how can I take young children, maybe they have a dad, maybe they don't, and how can I be that for them? Like how can I give them life lessons along with, hey, here's the game, here's how you're gonna, here's how you're gonna train for it, here's this move, but like when they would start to cry or something like that, I would go down there with them and be like, hey, it's okay that you missed the shot.
Right.
You can be unhappy about it.
And you had this perspective at 14 when you were a kid?
Dude, bro, I did. I mean,
but it sounds like you didn't have that perspective for yourself.
No, absolutely. Well, my father passed away when I was really young, so my coaches were the people who I looked up to.
Yeah.
But that's not always a great thing. That I learned, because I had some coaches where, like, I remember do we swear? Are we allowed to swear?
Sure.
Okay, it's coaching, right?
Yeah.
I remember
green light. If it's coaching, then yeah, we can
in
say whatever we want.
In college, I had I played junior college for 2 years and then university for 2 years. But I remember my junior college coach saying, Andrew, I'm going to start you tomorrow, not because you fucking deserve it. He's like, not because you deserve it at all. He called me the day before the game. He said, I just really am mad at Al, and I think if I start you, it will make him more mad. I know you're probably not going to sleep tonight, and you'll probably blow this opportunity, but I'm going to start you tomorrow. Hung up the phone.
What'd you do? Did you blow the opportunity?
I dominated that game because...
Was that what you needed to hear, though?
At that time, I think it made me so mad, like that. But I had a great leader on that team. Our best player ended up playing at Ohio State for a couple of years. He knew that I was nervous, and these are guys that most people, they were all inner city. They all were big time. They're going to go play high level Division I basketball, but I came from a different cloth, right? Like I'm not from Southside Chicago or where they were all from. So he was really good at knowing this guy's nervous today. I'm just going to get him some easy buckets early. Like little things like that.
That's the player on your team, not your coach, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So then when I started doing it, and then I'd look at my coach right in the eye as I'm running down and be like, you said I was going to fuck this up. He loved that. And so that's the same thing. Like I took all
the coach loved that?
Yeah, well, because he knew he was trying to get under my skin that day. And
so maybe that was the right thing then.
It was, but that also doesn't work in university. Like when I was at the university I finished at, I remember my coach coming in, and I was just, mid-season, we're all tired. He's like, well, you can't have a bad day. And I was like, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, you're not allowed to have a bad day. Everyone else on this team can have a bad day. But your energy, your everything, you are what we look for, and you can't have a bad day. And I took that to heart. That's not necessarily healthy all the time.
No, it's super unhealthy, but
it's not. But he's telling you that you're the leader of the team.
Exactly, and that's what you had to do.
You're the person that got to show up. And I look at that as like where we're at now as CrossFit coaches.
Yes.
I'm not allowed to have a bad day.
You are.
Like people are walking into my gym and they need the best hour of their day. And it doesn't matter what I'm dealing with.
Sorry, that was
right.
It's funny.
It doesn't matter what I'm dealing with, and I think leadership requires that sometimes. And so I think for him to be able to communicate that to you, and that shows that he saw you as a leader and knew that that's who you were on that team.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you can shake it later in life to where you can have bad days, but it's how you show up to your team, which I mean, my team's my family right now, but that's how I think that's what you're getting at too.
Yeah, and maybe he could give you some context, and you weren't able to understand that. I'm sure you're not allowed to have a bad day only meant when you're practicing.
100%.
Right? Doesn't mean that you can't walk off the court and have a bad day and deal with what you're dealing with.
Well, that's interesting. Both those scenarios sound like they got the right thing out of you, which in their role was kind of like that was their job, was to get the right thing out of you, but then set you up for failure in the long run.
Yep.
Which,
I would argue it didn't set him up for failure, right?
Yes, you're both right and both wrong. Hold on, let me go forth on that. So with coaching, I was highly attracted to finding groups of where I could find like troubled teenager, mainly boys, who just thought they were the shit or just needed an ass kicking, and I could do it in a sarcastic way where they knew they couldn't mess with me because I'd beat them up. Or not that we're physically fighting our clients.
Right.
That's not a good idea. But
not a good idea. Didn't say that should happen. It's just probably not a good idea.
Their dads would drop them off and say, "This guy trains. I want you to crush my son." And I would realize, I'm like, "Dad, you can sit down. I'm going to acknowledge what you said and be like, oh yeah, we're gonna crush your son." But he might not need that from me. He might need me to build him up.
Yeah.
And I remember the first client I had at 810 CrossFit. I started a teenage program for boys. His name was Trent Hilger, and his dad, same thing, brought him. He's like, I want this guy to crush. And I could tell the kid was a little reserved, and he ended up being a full ride for Wisconsin wrestling. Actually, he played football for them too, and he's on our Olympics for wrestling. Like the guy, I mean,
that's awesome. So what did he need? He
needed to. He was very reserved and quiet, and he was little.
Yeah.
And I think his dad was trying to get him in a spot where maybe his dad knew he was going to turn into a 6'5" monster. I have no idea. But that kid needed just eye contact, me to show him what to do, and then tell him, hey, you're doing a great job.
Yeah.
That was it.
So what allowed you to see that? So because it sounds like you've been pretty into the coaching from a long time.
But more of the side like you are with your family. I like dude, I would wake up. I don't know where this came from. I would wake up before high school, and I would go train. I would go to the gym at 5 a.m. I would lift weights. I would take the Rocky soundtrack, the Rocky 4 soundtrack, and if I couldn't run a mile to a certain song, I would just crush myself. And I would run it until I could get that. I can't remember what song it was in the Rocky 4, but I would run a mile until I hit it, and under that time, that the song was over. Something so simple, very measurable.
Yeah,
very measurable.
Very measurable.
But
wait, so no, I'm more wondering how what was the skill that you developed to look at a kid and be like, this kid needs this, because it sounds like that's exactly what you've done in your life is foster that. So what does that process look like for you?
I heard a stat. I don't know if one of you guys know this, that communication is, I think it's like 11% words, and then out of that it's 30-some% body, or 30-some% tone, and the rest is body language, or vice versa on tone and body language. It's literally 11% words. So I'm picking up on body language, and I'm picking up on tone, how they respond to me. Mm-hmm. Like if I have a troubled teenager, especially a boy that comes to me, and he's trying to puff his chest out at me with his tone and do X, Y, Z, I instantly know how I can fucking crush him.
Right.
And then I know if I have a teen where, he probably gets made fun of with the shirt off, because that was me at one point, I know how to build this one up too. And I'm telling by his body language, where he's looking at all the other guys near him and he's like, oh man, I shouldn't be here. Like I'm nervous, so I would say tone and body language.
Okay. And that to me means you're relatively, would you describe yourself as empathetic? Like you can kind of...
I'm actually very sensitive and empathetic.
That's what I'm saying.
Through therapy, I've learned that about, which is fucking odd.
Well, no, I've not gotten any of that from you.
No, you're something too. We got to dive into this guy's psyche, because there's things that I think you become the coach. If you're authentic as a human being, you're going to be the best coach. You might authentically be kind of a like him coaching. You can tell he really wants to be there, right? But also he reminds me of I got one of my best friends and my uncles, blend together, and that's a Todd coaching. He's gonna stay there till you get it right, but also he's like, come on, let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's actually move.
I've got a timeline to keep.
Yeah, I got a timeline. You get that vibe from the vibe, but it doesn't come off in an inauthentic way. If I did that, I think it comes off in an inauthentic way, and I don't think people are going to want to be around that.
Sure.
And where did you learn that from? Obviously, you've had a ton of coaches, not only in basketball, but you started CrossFit under Joe?
Yeah.
Joe DeGain, so, fantastic level 4 coach, been teaching seminars forever. Mm-hmm. So, who was probably the most impactful coach on your journey?
Oh, well, Joe is beyond a mentor, father figure, coach. I mean, Joe DeGain gets not enough credit, for sure. I mean, as a person. But we know him because of staff and whatever, but he'll never
I remember when you first got hired on, I think the first gig that I worked with you, and you had the long hair, and you kind of looked like him, and I walked up to you and was introducing myself, and you said I'm Joe DeGain or something and meant to say, oh yeah, I'm from Joe's gym or something like that. And I was like, what is happening right now?
I remember him telling me when I got on staff, he's like, make sure you don't say like you're just from my gym or you know me. Like, have your own identity. He's like, you don't want to be my identity. I was like, even that was good advice.
That's interesting. So like you identified as somebody who didn't really have much of that emotion and that intelligence, but it sounds like throughout your life you've had the connection with people and you've been able to sense that and see that, even from 14.
Yep.
But didn't really recognize that as a skill that would be useful in like emoting.
Yeah.
But then it sounds like Joe, because I know Joe pretty well, and Joe's pretty emotional too. Like he's a kind man, but is also hard, but in some ways.
Yeah.
But I think like having that kind of an example of someone who can be like him, as your leader, as your mentor, was like, oh, you can be this. You can 100%. Be both sides of this.
You can, and you can be like, I don't know, man. I think that there's so much bravo of like male bravado of coaching and proving my alphaness and XYZ in today's society that like, I don't know, man. A little soft skills can go a long way. I know. Thinking about this, we're married. He's not.
No.
He's not. But like, I've never in a million years thought like the things that my wife have said. Hey, this is the most masculine thing you've ever done. It is not what you think it was. You know, it was not where I just knocked somebody out or where I came in and did you see what weight I just lifted?
Yeah.
Or it's like, look at these abs,
look at this ab.
Yeah, look at this ab. These are the funny things where I'm like, what, man? In my head, I thought that was what brought. It's like, no, it was when you were there for me when I needed your advice, and I think you can bring that into your day and your coaching.
For sure.
I mean, without a doubt.
It's just being well-rounded, right? It's like having like the capability to go there should you need to, but also not needing to use it all. Not parading just with your pants down and walking around and be like, this is who I am.
This is a good podcast.
Yeah, check me out.
Yeah.
So okay, so you're coaching basketball. When do you get into CrossFit? What year is that?
2010.
To 2010.
Just to impress Jen. She was in it way earlier before me. I saw her doing pull-ups and I was like, yo, what the f is that?
Were you still playing basketball or were you done at this point?
I was actually going to try to play overseas. I was in the process of, it was weird after college. You're like, am I going overseas? Am I not? Is this even worth it? What do I want to do? Like, all that confusing shit. And then that's right when CrossFit hit at the perfect time, at least in my life. Because then it fills that void. And then all of a sudden you're like, I'm going to be this is a thing. And also, we never talk about, this isn't going to get into finance, although we should, because it is about coaching.
Yeah.
It is, and we should. I don't know how long we're allowed to do this.
I have to coach you through that a lot.
No. And there's part of being open to coaching. When you're a good coach, you're open to coaching, but when did CrossFit start? I mean, CrossFit started getting big in like 08, 09, right? That's when, we had a housing crash. That's when a lot of people were going nuts and XYZ, and it was that middle finger to the man culture that I know I needed at that time because I didn't know what the fuck I was going to do, and it fit perfect.
So you started doing it to impress Jen.
Yes.
You fell in love with it quickly, I'm assuming.
Just because I didn't dominate it right away, and I was like, I'm confused.
Wait, yeah. I'm sure there were certain things that you dominated.
Dominated.
And then you'd show up the next day and get smashed and be like, wait a second, this sucks.
I couldn't run.
Yeah.
Ironic as a basketball player.
How quickly after you started did you start coaching?
Very quick.
And did that start?
Because you already coached before.
I had coached basketball and XYZ, and then I think Joe saw it in me right away, and he offered. I was still in college, and he offered to give me the level 1 spot because he hosted so many seminars. He offered to give me that spot that they got at the time, and I was like, dude, I'll drive 5 hours home and take that thing for sure.
And did you start just dipping your toe into coaching at the CrossFit gym, or did you? How did he start? Kind of full time?
No, we started with my teenage program after I got my level 1.
Okay.
And then he was like, dude, do you want to coach some 6 a.m.s? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. I don't have any other money coming in. Okay. I was just watching Robin Big on the couch like a bum, dude.
Dude, I was just talking with somebody about that show. That was the best show ever.
Best show ever.
Best show ever.
Well, that's when I started dating Jen, and she was kind of like, you kind of got to do something with your life. And I was like, oh, yeah.
Wait, you mean...
you don't want to sit on the couch and watch Robin Big with me?
A graduated
no, dude.
ex-basketball player is not just going to get paid?
No, I didn't. I was just sitting there, and then that's when coaching, and then Joe made me a deal where the more kids I get, the classic deal that affiliate owners make with people, I just actually capitalized on it, where I feel like most people don't. I know I offer incentives to my coaches about like personal training or whatever, and I put it back on them, which I'm sure isn't the best thing because I don't give them tools. Joe basically told me, you bring all these kids in here, I'll give you X amount of their membership. And then I did it, and it got so big that it was like I was making $1,000+ and back in 2012 or 13, that's different, for only coaching 2 hours a week.
Hell yeah.
And he was like, shit, man, you really did bring in 20-some teenage boys. I'm like, well, yeah. Like, that's, you said I could, right? He's like, yeah, I mean, it's good.
Yeah.
So I don't know. If coaches are not owners, but they listen to your shit, which they should, like, I don't think any affiliate owner would be upset if you came to me and you're like, I have a passion and an idea. Can I roll with it?
Oh, yeah.
I'd be like, yeah, dude, go for it.
Of course.
I will pay you 70, 80%. What's the, all the models out there, the fifth, thirds model? Like, I'll pay you the 90, 95% model. I don't care.
Yeah.
I just want you to be excited and happy and stay here.
Yeah. Yeah. So you start coaching. You've got the kids group. You're coaching them.
Yep.
How does it go at first? When you're coaching movement now, it went from coaching basketball to now you're coaching human movement.
Dude, it was all wrestlers too. Randomly, like all just a bunch of wrestlers started coming in, and then one team came in, and then they won state championship, and then they were like, their
okay,
parents
here we
sent
go.
them. Yeah. And so I knew nothing about wrestling, and I'm like, all I know is what we learned in level 1, and none of them cared. I'm like, oh, you're going to extend your hips. It's going to help you in wrestling somehow. That was in the level 1 somewhere.
Oddly enough, and it did.
And oddly enough, it does.
did.
Okay, so like, were you adept at seeing and correcting movement right at the get-go?
Adept?
Yeah.
Good. I know.
Did I go
Good.
underwater?
Were you able to do that?
Adept means good.
Okay,
Means
underwater
capable.
breathing. Yeah,
Capable.
I was.
Is he capable now of seeing and correcting?
No,
We're unsure.
Honestly, I'm very good at seeing and correcting. When I rate myself, I'm just not. I just
Let me get that for you.
No, dude,
it's hard to reach back there and pat you on the back.
Trust me, I'm very good at seeing and correcting. Let's not forget. Do we even introduce? I've done 300 seminars with you guys. Not many with you, but
Not many with me at all.
Yeah, not many with you at all.
Have you
Maybe,
done-
I don't know.
I think we did one.
We got to look. Yes, we had to have done one.
We have to have done one. Anyway,
we'll figure
I'm
it
so
out.
sorry you had to work with him.
Yeah.
I worked with him a decent amount for a while, but
Yeah.
no.
I was
but
just apologizing for
I'm
that.
not as good at verbalizing what I'm trying to say. I will fully admit that. I'm like, because I something's on my brain. Maybe I have a brain
that's
injury.
only 11%, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's why the presence.
It is,
could do
but
You use mainly body language.
like, let's be honest, like
just do what I do. Watch me work out.
Verbal cues are still going to be the most that people use. So you do have to perfect short language, concise language, clear language, which I don't do the best at all.
But you see and correct well. So even from the very beginning, you were like,
I'm sorry, C. I should have just said C.
C.
I can see it all. There we go.
There we
I
go.
said C and
All
correct
right.
too quickly because it's
Yeah,
in our
there we go.
lecture. C and correct.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
okay,
All right.
so you start coaching, you get the kids in there. When you start coaching adults, like how does that process go?
Way too much entertaining. Way too much entertaining. You know what I mean? Like, because when you're younger and you coach adults, like, you're like, wow, they pay to be here.
For sure.
I better entertain them. I better
sure.
be funny. I better be charismatic. I don't really know if they want me to like tell them, So I think getting over those hurdles took a little bit of time.
And as you start to develop, when do you start to gain confidence in your ability of like delivering the stuff? Was it when you came onto staff, or was it like what? Because you're confident now. I mean, like I know you're. I mean, you have
just told us
confidence.
how
You
great
just told
he
us
is.
how
So,
great you are.
yeah.
So like, I know that there's some of it we're always being like we could be better, and there's all this stuff. But
Well, and I feel like when you tell yourself you're great, it's like then you need to move on, and that's where I got into finance real hard, and I like messed around with this guy because I'm like, well, I'm not necessarily versed in this yet. So I think when you end up coaching, if you don't move on to another thing, eventually you're never gonna have a mastery. No samurai wakes up and says, I'm the best samurai. They just say, I am a samurai. Like, so if you are a very good CrossFit coach, you need to exist and be a good CrossFit coach, and then move skills elsewhere where you're not good yet. But to your question, I think I ended up just getting better as through the level, and not everyone's going to be able to go this route, but just through the level 1 staff. Like, dude, we were getting hammered, bro.
Every weekend.
We were getting absolutely hammered on. I remember Nadia making me cry, and she's the best ever. But and
it's brutal sometimes.
I've told her that later, and she was like, "Oh my God, I feel so bad." I'm like, "Nadia, no, that's what we needed." You know, I remember
especially
having
guys like you and I who were like,
yeah.
"Hey, shut up and sit down.
I'm really good.
Yeah.
No, Nadia, hold my beer.
Yeah,
Hold my beer.
and no, if people aren't listening to this, give a visual of Nadia. She's 5'2", 100 pounds. You know, like, I mean, she is, but she will frighten you and sit you down.
For sure, with her role there.
Are you a CrossFit coach who's feeling stuck in their development? You're not alone. Many coaches lack good guidance when it comes to how to develop as a coach. They either don't have strong examples they find themselves around, they may lack support from their gym owner, and they just feel unprepared going into their next credential. That's why we made the Knowledge Pro, to fill that gap. It's a mentorship program built for coaches like you. It uses the Knowledge Daily, our comprehensive video library, as well as extra content that we put directly into the Knowledge Pro on our live weekly calls twice a week to mentor you and get you to the next level of development. We've got progressions, we've got scales, we've got one-off tips and tricks, we've got full coached classes by level 4 coaches so you can see an example of what it means to do this job well. All of that will also be walked through each week on those live calls, so that you have a soundboard to bounce off of and a group of coaches looking to be better to help support you in your endeavors. Coaching isn't just knowing what to do, it's also knowing how to do it. And that takes 2 things. 1, an example, and 2, practice. Practice is on your end, you gotta go out there and do it. We can help provide that example and the support with the Knowledge Pro. If you wanna know more, click the link below and give the Knowledge Pro a shot. I look forward to seeing you on one of the next calls.
It sounds to me like you came into it with a sense of understanding, like you went through the lens of like humor and connection.
Yes.
As like that's where you connected with individuals, and
like,
then you developed skills.
you a little bit.
I can
not
respect.
like Todd.
That is 100% true. As soon as they see the videos of the classes that we coach at the affiliate, it is that's exactly to your point. Entertain, don't smile, just coach.
Yeah, which is fine.
But people got a good class both times.
Yeah.
But
They need that.
They totally need that. It's cool to have seen you develop, and do you, like, because it sounds like you struggle a little bit with feeling confident in what you're doing when it comes to the coaching, but it also doesn't, you know, like, it sounds like you kind of overcome some of that and just been like, when did you actually go, like, I know I'm good? Was it when you were on level 1 staff for a while? Was it when you were delivering all the lectures? Was it when you got do you have a level 4?
No.
What will it be when you get your level 4?
You know, I'll be honest, I'm not coaching that much right now.
Okay.
So it's like when it comes to, I mean, I'm coaching in life, but my affiliate, with my job, when we don't even say, like, I am out of the education department where I'm in the affiliates department. So
yeah, but I feel like even though you're not coaching in your affiliate anymore, you're not teaching seminars anymore, but you're an affiliate rep.
Yeah, I'm coaches for affiliates.
Yeah, you're
which
coaching
is a
affiliates,
whole
right?
other ballgame.
So I think it is, but I would love to hear what skill set that you've developed.
Jeez, that's a good question.
With your coaching your kids in basketball, getting into CrossFit, not only doing the kids there, but also adults, and then level 1 staff, and now taking that. How do you take some of those lessons that you learned and apply them to the affiliate coaching? What does that look like now? That's
100% empathy. Dude, empathy goes so far for a human being, where you can just look them in the face. And sometimes, dude, full disclosure, I mean, the Midwest region's the best, you know, whether it's analytics.
Full disclosure, that's the best. I love it.
If it's analytics,
hey, I don't want to, like,
if it's happiness.
Just want to let you know that we're the best. Full disclosure, I'm the best basketball player to ever live and coach to have ever coached.
Absolutely. But at the end of the day, sometimes I will get on camera with the affiliate owner who needs to just fucking curse out someone or something for about 11 minutes. And I'll sit there and, dude, I'll just take it. And then, but the empathy that comes out, they're like, wow, like, thank you for listening. And even if they come at me, so I want to teach my kids, like, if some dude or, you know, dudette or something, they come at you very hard, how big are your shoulders to be able to handle that for a second? So I got really, really big shoulders. I can handle a lot. If you want to come at me and be like,
I have huge shoulders.
You
super
didn't
good coaching.
You know,
I want to be the best basketball player.
I freaking started this affiliate. You're not doing anything for me. I hate CrossFit. You can go on for as long as you want. I lost my wife. Like, dude, I'm gonna be there for everything for you. But I need you to get it out first, which is fine, and then we're gonna have the conversation.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid to, and also for our community, like, let's say you cross a bunch of lines a ton of time. Okay. Fucking go.
Right.
Let's fucking go. It's fine. We have a lot of people who really want to hear from not only me, but CrossFit and get better with their affiliate. So why would I spend time on you where all you want to do is come at us and me so hard, which I don't have. I mean, full disclosure, I don't have that many. I mean, it does happen, and it happens around the country and in world too. Yeah. So I got all the other country managers and reps, like they deal with this too. So credit to them.
But oftentimes people just want to be heard and seen and felt, right? And so I think that same thing shows up in the gym, and it almost sounds like that athlete that doesn't want to listen to you or doesn't want to scale. And sometimes you just, take it, have the conversation with them afterwards, let them share whatever's on their mind or why they want to do what they want to do, understand where they're coming from, and then that gives you the freedom and potentially the ability to navigate the situation.
You're absolutely right. And with business, we're an objective fitness company, right? We measure things very, very accurately, force, distance, and time. If I'm putting that to your business, like I've never had an owner who makes $7,000 a month, net owner benefit, whatever you want to call it, or just pay themselves, who's mad at CrossFit. Can we clickbait that? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, like, okay, so why are you the most mad right now? So let's say paying yourself is lifting weights. Oh, you're mad because you can't lift a lot of weight. You're just mad right now because you don't have a big shovel to bring home and you're doing all this work. Let's try to dive into why that's happening.
Right.
And that's the coaching I do now, which is, I love it because it's so much brain calories that I get to focus on them, and I get to ask them intimate questions where I'll literally just be like, hey, what's your revenue? And they're like, whoa, yeah. I'm like, oh, you've never told anyone that. Yeah. That's why you feel so fucking awkward right now.
Well, what's funny is like sometimes you ask that and they're like, I don't know. And you're like, okay, well, let's start with knowing. let's start with measuring some stuff. But just before we dig into that, like I think what you're kind of alluding to and speaking to with the carrying it on your shoulders and being able to listen is, have you read the book Unreasonable Hospitality?
No, you do give me good book recommendations. I hate reading.
I listen. I only listen. Yeah, I only listen, and that's the only reason I know words like adept too. So it's because I listen to a lot of them, mainly fantasy. Yeah. So I'll bring in words that don't fit in normal language. Okay. So here's on the Unreasonable Hospitality. There's like a bunch of different stuff they talk about. But one of the parts about being like giving unreasonable hospitality is not taking yourself too seriously. Yeah. So it's like you take what you do very seriously, but you don't take yourself very seriously. Yes. So when someone comes at you and like starts going at you, you're like, I hear you, but this isn't about me.
Yeah,
you know? Like I'll listen and I'll be like, all right, you can go at me as much as you want because this isn't about me. Yeah. And I think that's something that's hard for some coaches to fathom. Like they'll be in class and someone will be like, I don't want to do this, or like hey, no, I'm not going here, or they'll even get like straight out like, that's a bad cue, go away from me, and they'll take it personally. And it's like, it's not about you. Like
they're dealing with something.
They're dealing with something. So like if you can take yourself not very seriously, you don't need to like combat that right away. You can take the space.
Yeah, yes. and this guy does such a good job of that. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to see that. And you see him, and especially when the hair was longer and the tattoos are flaring, dude, this guy's intimidating, dude. And you hear him start talking, and you're a little bit nervous, and then you see the way he interacts with people, and has the confidence in himself to not have to take things too seriously.
Well, that's the thing. Like I know I like to teach young boys and stuff, like, or I'll teach my boys is like, you should be, it's the old, I don't know, whatever that guy's name is. He's all over the place now, but you'll know the quote when I say it. But like, you should be capable of danger. Like, don't get it twisted. Yeah, Jordan Peterson. You should be very, very capable of danger. That's why you should be so confident and just to be able to relax and et cetera. And like, what I found is like a lot of times the people who come at me they're just afraid. They're just everything is coming to get them. The bank's coming to get my money. That my landlord's going to shut me down. Everyone hates me, and I'm like, oh well, let's learn to fight a little bit. Whether that's with education, whether that's with figuring out your revenue, whether that's with getting stronger, learning to literally fight. Whatever you need to do to build that back up. But
well, that's cool. It's almost full circle because for you, the first thing you did with kids was when they came to you is like, what's this kid need? And like, does this kid need someone really hard and to ride them, or does someone need like, hey, you're okay, like puff the chest up, let's teach you how to do this. And you're doing that now with business owners who are coming to you, and they're all going to need something slightly different. I would say that the skill of empathy that you've developed, or you had it initially and then have continued to foster throughout your life, is really carrying you a long way. I guess that's coupled with the mechanics of understanding things like, okay, where in the business can you turn the levers, which is learning the cues, which is learning to see and correct and say those things.
You guys, you'll like this because it's all level 1, or this level 2. It's been a while. But at some point, we do mention presence and attitude. Yes, all right, I'm going to nail it. In presence and attitude, we talk about, the 6 criteria, right? And technically, if your presence and attitude is terrible, it's the one thing that can erase
Yeah, you can
lot
be
of
the
things.
world's best teacher. You can stay incorrect,
can.
and if everybody does not enjoy your class because it feels like you're chewing on rocks.
But it's hard for us to say that because then it's like, all right, let's just spend the whole weekend talking, jokes and how to present. So we're not going to do that. But I find that with business, I took that to the affiliate when I actually bring that reference up often is that lecture. And I say, like, you really do care. You really do. And you're really working very hard. You're not working smart at all. It's like you're doing all the teaching, seeing, and correcting, amazing. You have no presence and attitude, and that is still going to be the revenue and lifeblood of your business. If you cannot figure out simple systems and operations, and if you cannot figure out, like, why am I so broken here, you're going to inevitably get shut down. And, like, I've reconciled with some of the bigger media or outside media in CrossFit. People know, like, it was actually really good. Hiller came at me. We had a good conversation. It actually brought a lot of the community together, people who are still on one side and another. And one thing that I think we discussed in there, if not, but that is a part. CrossFit does have to care about business.
For sure.
I have to care and get in there and talk to them about that. Or none of this shit matters. Because if all these affiliates just go under not because of things we're not doing or the methodology or because how much we care, because simply they have no revenue, then your job's gone. Like, everything's gone.
Totally.
So we have to understand that is okay, and we have to stop saying, like, money's terrible. We don't do that as often as we used to, but that used to be our culture, man. Come on, bro. We're going to do, like, get rid of, no, it's all bad, man. It's like we were that meme where we're playing video games in the basement and there's, like, Doritos everywhere and, like, dude, the federal government's coming to get us all. Like, that's who we were.
I don't know that meme.
Oh, that meme is
I don't
great.
know that I get.
Dude, the feds are coming to get us. Like, no. All right, we have to become big boys and girls.
Sure.
And with big boys and girls, and you're opening a business, a lot of things can happen. And so you have to be prepared. Do you have an emergency fund in your business? Like, all these things are little, I would say, like, emergency fund. Is that the mobility to even do a snatch? Should we be talking about mobility prior to snatching or load? Should you just be doing the PVC stick to get the range of motion? Like, these are the simple things that we can now bring into basic business.
I would argue that, like, even in the beginning when Greg was speaking, he was saying you need to have the passion for it. This needs to exist, and then your business will generally take care of itself. Thinking that the basics behind business were relatively straightforward. Mm-hmm. Because even a lot of these things that you're saying, like, a lot of them are relatively straightforward, like learning how to keep accounting books, paying attention to money coming in and money going out. It's just a lot of human beings didn't learn this. Like, this is not taught in school. This is not given to you when you sign up for a CrossFit affiliate.
No.
We're like, here's a really effective thing that works really well. If you're passionate about it, you can put in a lot of effort, but you will need to improve.
Well, look at like high-level coaches. Everyone that we've had on this podcast talk about their desire to seek higher education and continually learn. And as soon as they get to the point where they've decided not to continue learning, is when they know they need to move on, right? And that chasing excellence, I think that Coach used to talk about, shouldn't relate only to coaching movement, telling people to push their knees out. It's like, if I'm chasing excellence, I'm figuring out how to better serve my clients in every possible way, and that means running good business practices. And I think that's why it's so valuable to have somebody like you in place at HQ to help educate affiliate owners on what they need. Same thing of what we're doing here at Best Day.
It is, dude. You guys are crushing it with this. It's like, in full disclosure, like I've talked before on other podcasts, not yours, but like, the civil war inside of the community. There's certainly a civil war. I'm allowed to say that because I see it, right? And you guys don't have to talk about it. You don't have to say any words. But if you didn't hear what Todd just said, like, leadership is very, very unique. And at some point, leadership has to, not our leadership now, but the way you're led has to evolve and adapt with the world and your environment around you. And if you don't adapt, you will die. If you don't grow, you'll die sometimes. There are things that are certainly beautiful about just, hey, affiliate fee, never going to tell you anything, never going to tell you what to do. Just go do the thing. Best coaches will survive. Meritocracy, yada, yada. I totally get it. But guess what? Motherfuckers don't care. Sorry, I'm getting passionate. But people, if you sniff, and I'm not going to name any other fitness brands, but if they sniff, hey, what they're doing works, I'm going to go capitalize with systems, procedures, operation, paid ads, paid leads. I'm going to take everything, water it down. I'm going to be the company that does that, and then they will bury you. So if you're not willing to go to war, so when you're getting all passionate about, like, oh, man, corporate, yada, yada. No. Take that energy and go to war for the methodology.
For sure.
Take that energy and be like, I'm going to go to a freaking community college and learn more about accounting and business.
Sure.
Take that energy, because I already, dude, the worst CrossFit coach that's listening to this is still better than 99% of personal trainers out there. I think it was the owner of...
And if they're listening to this, that they're seeking higher education.
Yes.
And they want more.
Yes.
And like I think that's the big...
You guys should have best hour business too. Dude.
They do have best hour business.
No. Just
you mean get rid of
just a podcast based on that, because this should leave chills going down people's spine. The dude who owns Fit Body Boot Camp. We'll name one thing. What's his name? I don't know. He's a very, very, very he's a good businessman. I'm not going to sit here and argue with that. But I do recall that a conversation that was had at some point, and this could be a rumor, right? But I enjoy it even if it was a rumor, is I heard he called out someone high level and said, hey, CrossFit made the world's best trainers. Did it. Now what? He dropped it. He said, and now what? It's a tough answer, right? Okay, we made the world's best trainers. We did it. But we have to make at least enough of a business sense that you survive long enough to train people.
Right. Yeah.
And we're finding, what I'm finding is like, wow, we haven't even touched that nugget. But I'm going to take things from the level one, what I've learned, exactly what you're saying, the skills from coaching, and apply it to that so we can get them in.
Totally.
And what would you say those things are? Like, what are the biggest things that you've taken through your coaching journey and the skills that have now allowed you to run and operate a strong affiliate, also to help coach other affiliate owners in business?
Dude, Decentralize Command through the Jocko book is, I think, the number one thing people...
Decentralize, I thought we were going towards crypto there. I was like,
you're like, oh,
that's the biggest skill that you took from this.
Yeah, dude, Decentralize Command, meaning, I think he talks about in that chapter, just like, basically that means delegating tasks. Like, if you have something that's so soul-sucking inside of your business and you hate it so much and it makes you not want to open your door because you hate accounting or doing coaches scheduling or cleaning, or like, those are things you should be taking off your plate immediately and attempting to do that. So like, I don't know, why did that, I feel like your question, now I'm just ranting.
Around coaching. I mean,
No,
I
like
think,
it. I think
it was something about coaching.
Essentially, you're talking about figuring out ways to make it so you can focus on the things that you're passionate about.
Yeah, well, you have to do that for business. And I'm sorry, I got it now. Coaching is normally what people are the most passionate about. They're not passionate about fucking cleaning, or they're not passionate. Most of them aren't passionate about accounting or marketing or et cetera. So like, that does take away from your coaching because now you have to waste the brain calories on it.
Well, I think that does relate to your coaching too, because we talk about the 6 criteria that the level 2 to be an effective coach, and most coaches I know, there's 1 or 2 that they're really passionate about, they're really good at, and they're really invested in.
Right.
But if they only spend their time focusing on those 1 or 2 things, they're not going to be a high-level coach or the most effective coach that they possibly can if they leave everything else behind. It's like, it's got to be that continued.
But that's comfortable. That's comfortable to work on and really like the things that you're good at. And what are majority of us good at? Coaching.
But what do you have to do?
You have to
work on the things you're not good at.
Have some self-reflection and some honesty within yourself to know what you're not good at, and then pursue that to get better, right?
Yeah, and then but what I would echo on the top of that is like, you want to pursue that.
Yep.
Understand it, but then when you can, and it makes sense, delegate it.
Yes.
Like you were saying,
especially if it's something that you don't want.
But that goes back to business with coaching.
Yeah.
Like, we can take the things from dude, us 3 could probably sit over a whole weekend, take the level 1 and level 2, all the big nugget, the things that emotionally change people, that we could relate all those things back to business. I'll be honest, the community does want that. Mm-hmm. They say that all the time. Hey, I wish there was like a level 1 business where, they use principles from like force, distance, and time, and we do put it back. Like, it can be done. It's just, right, that's not necessarily been our focus. We don't want to, from the education department, it's about coaching. Will it ever come in the future? Who knows? Maybe. But
I think it is coming.
Well, we're doing it.
Yeah, we're doing it.
But
Philly University does that.
But that being said, what I would say is that, like, if you look at the principles of level 1, they're not a set of systems necessarily.
Yep.
It's a methodology. So it's a larger understanding that you use depending on the people who are in front of you in different ways.
Yeah.
So I think that's the same thing with business. You're not going to do a carbon copy. It's the reason it's not a franchise in quite the same way.
Yes.
Because you can't carbon copy that. So like, if we had a set of principles that we could follow, similar to that, like the constantly varied functional movements executed at high intensity, and with the intention
ability
of increasing work capacity across broad time domains, it would be like
doing through your teaching, seeing, correcting, your group management, your demonstration and presence and attitude.
But
and it can look different for each and every one of us.
Totally. And still be effective.
Yes.
So I think it would be less about creating a system that people can run through and more about creating larger principles that we can then...
Systems, like cut and dry systems, are exactly what we need to go away from on mentorship. If I'm just being honest with you guys, it's not
Hell yeah.
you.
We don't do cut and dry systems.
Right. You can't look at an individual and say, hey, this is exactly how to run a Bring a Friend week. Or this is exactly like, you can have guidelines, etc. But at the end of the day, I enjoy more asking, why do you want to run a Bring a Friend week?
For sure.
Well, I want to run them because I need more members. Do you really need more members, or is it simply revenue? Do you just want more revenue in there? Well, no, I just want more revenue. Okay, have you ever thought about doing X, Y, Z? No, I haven't. Actually, I don't even really want more members. I'm really happy with the 70 people. Okay, well, let's go back in your life expenses and see, like, how much money do you really... I mean, I get that deep with people.
Oh, yeah.
And you can get that for your affiliate fee. So when people say, I want my affiliate fee to get me, I don't know, did you book a call with me? And I remember some other dude, I think it was Savan, was like talking shit, which is fine. He can talk shit about me all he wants. I don't give a fuck. But at the end of the day, he's like...
sounds like it doesn't bother him at all.
No. Well, fuck that guy. Yeah, well, it's just it's like, that sounds arrogant. I'm like, that's not arrogant. Dude, if Todd said, hey, I for an hour of my time for me to talk to him about finance, then we're going to get really deep and I'm going to share stuff with him, dude, I'd expect to pay him, even though we're buddies.
I do need to send you an invoice
you
for that,
need
by
to
the
send me
way.
an invoice,
A couple
but
of them.
at the end of the day, like, if you don't utilize that, that's fine. It's an affiliate. I'm not going to just, if I keep hitting you up and you're like, dude, don't talk to me, that's part of the affiliate. We're great. You're doing fine. I'll leave you alone.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't always want to be left alone. Like, they want somebody to be heard and talk to about some simple things in operation. So I think when it comes to figuring out why do you even want, is it just more member? Is it just revenue? Like, so those things, I think, those are good questions that can't be cut and dry.
Well, and they seem like really surface level, but then you ask like 3 or 4 questions, you get to the depth of it, and then you're like, okay.
Yeah.
And then we find that all the time when we're mentoring gyms. It's
Yep.
like you keep asking questions, and it unpacks where they're really at, and then you can, when you get to the root of it, then you can adjust those little things. But if you just hit surface level stuff, like, I need more members, it's like, well, do you keep the members that you have?
Yeah.
What's your churn rate?
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you charge them? $9 a month. It's like, $9 a month? Why do you don't need more members?
Yeah.
Let's change what you're doing with this cost here. There's a lot that goes into it, which is why it's always a unique conversation.
Well, and I know with that, remember, it's fun because being in my role, I get to talk to anyone when it comes to outside mentors, or whether it's two-brained or extended. I have good relationships with everyone. I don't think there's anyone that dislikes me out there. And I know for a fact the best numbers that we have, getting numbers on affiliates is very, very, very challenging. I love the two-brain reports. I just talked to a guy earlier, John Franklin. I mean, I think the average when it comes to net owner benefits, so that includes when you put your AT&T bill, et cetera, is the average affiliate is $3,700 a month. $3,700 a month in the United States. So that's going to be below poverty, I believe. I think poverty's at, or I don't know, it's somewhere in, you are not going to be able to.
But those are from two-brain mentee people, right?
No.
I'm just throwing it out there.
They do. You got to give them credit. Give credit where credit's due. They're able to pull a lot of data from people.
I'm just being a dick,
That's
Andrew.
fine. That's fine. You can be a dick. And then also, I've even got the old school gym launch ones where they were even lower. They said theirs was average on 3,000.
Well, Gym Launch wasn't a CrossFit gym.
But they are able to pull data. What I'm trying to say from this is the goal is if owners are really, really, really mad when they come to me originally, like, I know you're going to be unhappy if you're bringing home $2,500 a month and you're putting in all of this effort, all this energy, and you care so much. Like, I do know that you're going to, that lifeblood is eventually or that little vitality does run out.
For sure.
And that gets hard to open the door. And I know you're changing lives in there.
For sure.
So let's attack that first and figure out what's going on.
All right, so that's the coaching you're doing now, is attacking that.
I am attacking a lot of things.
So how do people get a hold of you then?
They get a hold, if you're in the Midwest, right?
Which is the best.
We've
already established
You can
that.
simply open up your email, and I always put links to my calendar and my Tuesday business call. So people, if you register for the Tuesday business call, it happens every Tuesday, you'll always get a notification. And guess what? If you make it 5 weeks out of 10, great. If you make it 10 out of 10, there are owners in there who show up every single Tuesday who are high earners, who have been, a lot of them are your clients, or they're now even like the advanced version of whatever you can be in your clients. They're helping mother effers out. I'm like, you see the correlation here? They just show up. They're like, well, it's hard. It's at 1 p.m. I'm like, well, that's why I picked 1 p.m. You probably aren't doing anything around that. I'm guesstimating that's probably when you're not doing something. So there's a link for that. My personal calendar if you need a meeting. And then it's also in the Midwest Affiliates Instagram. I can't really get a hold of you in any other fashion besides social media or
What's your personal
email.
social media?
Oh, God. Andrew Charlesworth 1. You can always find me there, but you're going to find a lot of children, crypto G-Gen stuff, a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah, so if you guys are looking to get into crypto, I think that's where we're headed with this thing. Huh?
Andrew, just show up. Charlesworth.
That's pretty sick.
You like
Should
it?
I change it?
Yeah, I like it. Andrew, just show up.
Yeah.
Charlesworth. Because like that, it's very akin to the gym.
Yeah.
Just show up, dude.
Just show up.
You're going to get the results.
Yeah.
And the people who don't show up clearly don't get the results.
It's true.
Show up to the calls with Andrew. Thank you, bro.
Appreciate it, man.
All right. See you guys.
Yeah,
Always
man.
a pleasure.
We'll come back on again. We need to talk the rest of the story.
There it is.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks for checking out this episode of Behind the Knowledge. Now, if you want help developing your coaching and to learn from us directly, check out the Knowledge Pro. There we host live calls with our coaches every week where we discuss content together and work on skills to improve our on-the-floor coaching ability. To learn more, you can head over to besthouroftheirday.com/the-knowledge. And if you found this content helpful, we're going to be releasing new episodes every week, so subscribe to the podcast and share it with a friend. Thanks again for listening, and we look forward to seeing you again next week.